very important that we vote, that we use our right to vote, and particularly for people with disabilities. Articles 21 and 29, for example, in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, supports our right to accessible information, the right to express ourselves, and 29 enshrines the right to be involved in the political process. So it's not just enough to have the right to vote, but also to know why you should vote. And why you should vote is because the people you vote for are people who will make decisions about the kind of community that you live in and that you will live in the future for up to 5 years. So it's really important that we use our right to vote. It's a responsibility, it's a civic duty, but it's also something that impacts our lives directly in the community where we live in. The impact of elections take place primarily after the election is over. The candidates come together, they form the local government, or they form the national government, whichever kind of election you're involved in, and they make decisions on everyday issues and everyday topics that affect our lives. They decide how national and European funding is spent in our local areas. They help make decisions around the roads, the footpaths, everything that impacts on us on a daily basis. They make decisions around housing, transport, employment, enterprise, everything, and social and leisure. So it's hugely important that we're aware that when we vote, there is an impact, and if we don't vote, we have no say in those decisions. The local authority has to make sure that anybody who wishes to stand or who's eligible to stand as a candidate can do so. And that includes people with disabilities. So if somebody needs particular support in order to do that, maybe accessible formats of communication or access to various different locations or forums, the local authority has to make sure that that happens. Communications should be in plain English. They should be easy to read wherever possible. And websites should be accessible. So the basic right of every person in the community must be supported in order to make sure that either they can become a candidate or they can vote, and they can have access to the kind of information they will need to help them make their decision. Elections give us the opportunity to vote, obviously, but it also gives us the opportunity to vote for a diverse range of candidates. Different people coming from different perspectives, different views, and also different abilities. So when we set out to look at candidates and what they stand for, it's very important that we have the opportunity to look at diversity and make sure that diversity inclusion is part of the election process, that people from different marginalised groups perhaps, if they're not represented directly by a candidate, that at least we're making sure that those candidates who are standing are aware of them, aware of their needs and aware of their issues. And so this is where hustings come in. Hustings are an opportunity for us all to work together in the community and voluntary sector, both disability organisations and community organisations, to bring together the candidates into a room or into a setting, and where we have already asked ourselves, what are the issues that are really important to us in our community right now? What are the big questions that we need asked? What do we want from candidates when they're elected? What kind of community do we want when we have a new local government or a new government? So hustings are very important. It gives us the opportunity to bring the candidates in, we get to meet them, we get to ask them some of the serious questions that we want asked. And it gives us as well an opportunity to put our case to candidates. And we can always come back to candidates then that are elected and say, we have had a chat with you about this, we told you about these issues, you said that you would support those issues, and so it's an opportunity for us to effect real change in our communities for the better. Not every candidate, of course, will get elected, and there may be some really good candidates who are very inclusive, really want to see positive change for people with disabilities going forward. Just because they haven't been elected doesn't mean that we can't actually work with that person. That person may well have an awful lot to offer in a lot of our campaigns, in a lot of our work, and actually we can work with that candidate in other ways and on other forums. If you've never voted before, or if you've just turned to voting age, don't forget, this is a very special role that you have just entered into. This is an opportunity that is given to you, that many people have fought for over the years to make sure that we could have this opportunity. There are many places in the world where people cannot vote, and we owe it to ourselves and to our communities to make sure that we use our vote. Some people might say to you, voting doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, your vote doesn't count. Everybody's vote counts. Everybody's opinion counts, because you live in the community. This is your community. Your opinion around housing, your opinion around transport or employment, your ideas, your solutions and your issues, they all count and matter. Whether you're an Irish citizen or not, if you're living in a local community in Ireland, you have the right to vote. So please don't avoid going down to the local authority. Don't be afraid to do that and see, are you on the electoral register? And if you're not, don't be afraid to seek out the supplementary register and ask to be placed on it.
I wanted.